Hey, good morning, guys. Jim Huddock with Technisonic, and thanks for joining us here for our third episode of Radio 101. So, we are going to continue building the foundation so that we can go forward and build a comprehensive code plug, troubleshoot the radio, and set this thing up right. So, as part of that, we have to get these basic principles in place. Right now, we've already talked about P25. We understand the different modes of analog and digital. And today, we're going to look at the two different types of channels we're going to be setting up. So, welcome to Radio 101. Here we are with channel setups. So the first thing, folks, we want to understand about our TDFM radio, it is unlike your aviation radio. Let's set that side of our knowledge aside and take a look at the FM components. On any FM radio, we have a lot more capability and things to set up. The first things we have to do, and we're going to take a look at today, is our receive frequencies and our transmit frequencies. We're going to cover PL tones in the next episode, and we've already spoken about the mode, different types of modes and what those mean. So when we're setting up our channels, we're setting up our conventional channels as we've discussed earlier. Conventional systems always require you to define a receive frequency and a transmit frequency for your channel. Each frequency is typically 6 digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to do that twice. We're entering 12 numbers. It's very easy to transpose a digit, so be careful when we're building our frequencies and double check things. This is one of the common errors that we see is one of these numbers gets transposed and the radio is not working on that channel. This is going to be one of those things you're going to look for. Okay, receive and transmit frequencies. Conventional systems have two different kinds of channels. They have simplex channels and duplex channels. A simplex channel means our receive and our transmit frequency is the same. So in this case, 155.250, we're going to both transmit on that frequency and receive on that frequency. So if the frequency is busy, we have to wait. We can't step on people. The receiver cannot transmit and receive at the same time. A duplex channel, a little different. Duplex channel, we have a receive frequency and a transmit frequency that is different. I'm receiving on 151.250. I'm transmitting on 167.5. We're going to be dealing with that and answering those questions in just a minute. So again, be careful when we're entering our channel information and our frequency information. All we need to do is transpose two numbers and we have turned a simplex frequency into a duplex frequency. It's not going to work. Very simple to do and one of the most common errors we see. So what is a simplex channel? A simplex channel is really basic line of sight radio. It is the radio that you are most used to seeing. I'm going to tune a frequency or I tune a channel and we're going to transmit and receive on the same channel. It's line of sight radio. Now we are talking land mobile radio. So line of sight might not be that very far. It might be 3 miles, it might be 20 miles. Depends on the topography, the area that you're in, hills, valleys, buildings, those types of things. It is walkie-talkie style radio in its easiest form. My radio is talking directly to your radio. There's nothing in between. We're not talking through anybody or towards anybody. We are just talking radio to radio. In a helicopter, we have a greater line of sight than we do on the ground. Again, these cars and these portables that are on the ground, they may only reach 20 miles and they're only meant to go as far as the first repeater. They are not long distance radios. Our helicopter gives us a little bit better performance on that because we have altitude on our side, and I have seen the radios work up to 40 miles line of sight. When we set up a simplex or direct frequency, we will know that. Whenever we tune our radio, it tells us if we are on a direct frequency or a repeater channel. The way that it does that is we will see the zone name, the channel name, in this case zone 5 channel is tactical, and we will get an up arrow. The up arrow denotes that we are on a direct or line of sight frequency. This is good information because if we're not talking to somebody, It could just simply be we need a little more altitude, or it could be that our view of that person, they've gone behind something that we can no longer talk to. And moving the aircraft or changing altitude might help correct the problem. It may not. But we know that we're talking line of sight. Okay. A duplex channel is also known as a repeater channel. A repeater channel, the receive and the transmit frequencies are different. I'm going to transmit on one frequency, in this case 154.250, and I'm going to be receiving on 136.0. Now, obviously, I can't transmit on a frequency and receive on a different frequency. That's not going to work. So how does this get rectified? This gets rectified via the repeater. Now remember, we're talking land mobile radio. So these little portable handhelds are not meant to go very far. The radios, the mobiles in the cars are not meant to go very far. Some areas are quite big, whether it's a large city, a county, a state, these radio systems can cover a lot of geography and a lot of area. And even if it's just something as simple as a county, there may be 4 or 5 different towers that allow coverage of that county via the radio system. Now what happens is pretty simple concept. I am going to transmit on 154.250. That's going to come up to the tower. The tower has 2 transceivers in it. The first transceiver is set to receive on 154.250. So I'm transmitting, the tower is receiving. It is going to turn around and repeat that signal on a separate transceiver transmitting on 136.0. That's coming back down to our other radio on 136.0. So we're doing a transmission and we're changing. So why are we using 2 different frequencies? Again, pretty simple. I cannot transmit and receive at the same time. So we're going to need 2 different frequencies. We have 2 different frequencies. Probably going to need 2 different receivers to do these at the same time. Our radio, we're not looking to do these 2 things at the same time so the radio can listen on a different frequency than transmit. Okay. Remember that core concept here in land mobile radio is we often have to go beyond the line of sight that we actually have as a land mobile user. And that's why these tower systems are set up. And they're set up very specifically and deliberately to cover the geography they have to cover. There is another concept in all of this that I'm sure you've probably heard about. It is called talk around, or you may hear it as going direct, or possibly car to car. There's a number of different acronyms and names that people use. What talk around or going direct is it is going to take a repeater channel and take the repeater out of the equation. Why would we want to do this? We may want to do this because we started out on a repeater channel and we are talking, but as we get further away from that repeater, our conversation starts to go downhill, or we might not have a strong connection. However, we are getting closer to that person on the ground, that radio on the ground. We have better line of sight to the person or the radio on the ground than we have back to the repeater. So it would be beneficial for us to just talk directly to that other radio. The radio, the TDFM 9000 series, has a program feature in it that you can enable called Direct. What that allows you to do is by pressing the Direct button, you're allowed to bypass the repeater and talk directly to the other radio. There is a catch on this. There's actually a couple things to consider. First key is both parties have to agree to go direct. Both parties have to say, hey, let's go direct. And if both radios have that capability, they can click and go direct. Now they are talking directly to each other and they're bypassing the repeater. And we'll show you that setup in a moment. But before we get there, you have to understand one thing. And I say danger, danger, danger here. Problem with the direct feature on an APX radio APX module, is it is global by nature. What do I mean by that? It means when I hit the direct button and I put that radio in direct mode, I am not just affecting that channel, that repeater channel that I am on, but I am affecting every repeater channel programmed in the radio. So I have now taken every repeater channel in that radio and gone to direct mode. You can see the problem here. It's easy to put the radio into direct. It might not come to mind to take it back out of direct, or possibly hit that button by mistake and put the radio in a direct mode. One of the big issues that we see is there is no indication on the front of the display, no glaring indication anyway, that the radio is in direct mode. So unless you are highly knowledgeable and very experienced land mobile operator, we don't encourage the direct button. There's another solution that is far more elegant and a lot easier to use and a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Less dangerous, I guess, for the operator. So how would we do this if we don't have the direct button, but we want to be able to go direct or talk around? The alternative to the direct button. The alternative is to set up our own simplex channel that does the same thing as direct. So when we have our repeater channel, I'm going to call that channel 1-R for repeater. Right below it is I'm going to put the simplex version of that channel right below it. We have 3,000 channels in the radio. We have plenty of space generally to do this. The simplex version of the channel is quite simply a simplex channel based on the receive frequency of the repeater channel. So what we're looking at is channel 1, its receive frequency is 13600. And there actually should be another 0 there. The simplex version here is my receive and my transmit are both 136000. That is going to bypass the repeater. Now, again, we have to make sure that both parties, the helicopter and the person talking, has the ability to go direct. Has that ability. Now, he might have a direct button and we might have a channel. That's fine. They're setting up the same way. This is far less dangerous in our code plug because it is simply another channel. We're not hitting a button that is globally affecting the operation of our radio. We're just tuning a simplex channel. And it's very simple to put this channel, the repeater channel, and then the simplex version of the channel right below it. Again, 90% of us have plenty of room in that radio to support that. And it's a much easier thing for the operator to recognize and to utilize. And we're going to eliminate things like the radio went into direct unintentionally. We pressed the button, or somebody left the radio into direct mode, those types of things. So something to consider and something that you want to think about when we're setting up our code plug is if you want direct, this is a more elegant way to do it and far less dangerous solution. So we've talked about simplex channels. We've talked or direct channels. Now we've talked about duplex channels and repeater channels and how to bypass them. So this is the key pieces of channel setup that you need to understand. We're going to go into the next piece of it and we're going to introduce what we call PL tones or subaudible tones to this. And we're going to segment this even up a little bit further. Just so you know, when we talked about the arrow button showing us a direct channel, lack of the button means we're on a repeater channel. So the radio will always tell us whether we are on a direct channel or a repeater channel, just with the arrow. The arrow will always show up, or if it's missing, or it's a duplex channel. So from the front of the radio, the operator always knows what they're utilizing. Am I hitting a repeater or am I going direct? So that is it for our basic channel setups. Again, we appreciate your time. We hope this is helpful information to you. The next episode, we're going to introduce another concept in our channel setup called subaudible tones. This one is a little tricky. It can also make things a little more difficult for the user that doesn't understand the technology they're using. So join us next time for episode 4, PL Tones on Radio 101. We thank you, and you have a great day.